Manga-Waido.
I'm Kosuke Tomioka, the second son of the Tomioka family. But my stepdad, Tatsuma Tomioka, married my mom after his wife died from an illness 2 years before I was born. I have a stepbrother, Kenta, who's 4 years older than me, but we don't really get along that well. When we were kids, we got along fine.
Okay, let's head over to Grandpa's shack!
Yeah, let's go! Back in those days, I was always chasing after my stepbrother. Grandpa retired and let his eldest son take over the company. His hobby was working on his bikes and collecting all kinds of junk. The old garage reeked of engine oil and old antiques, but we loved it and would stop in any chance we got. The place was just an old shack from the outside, so we simply called it the Shack. Don't you guys go grabbing everything at random now. You kids ask my permission first. Don't want you getting hurt.
You got it, Gramps!
Sure thing! Wow, super cool!
Gosh, check it out, Kosuke!
Back then, we were just kids, so even a dirty old toolbox looked like a treasure chest to us. Just watching Grandpa working on a bike was like stepping into a completely different and fascinating world. Back in the day, Grandpa was a really tough businessman and ran a tidy ship, so he was pretty strict even to his grandsons. He hated bad manners and laziness, and he would often scold us for various things. Listen up, you kids! I want you to grow up being proud members of the Tomioka family! You got it? He was always ranting on about that, respecting the Tomioka family, carrying on the name, and so forth. As a kid, I was pretty obedient towards my elders, and took in all that Grandpa said with seriousness. But my brother, Kenta, was different.
That old geezer ranting on about family? Give me a freaking break! Damn it! One of these days!
The more he was scolded, the more he seemed to rebel against them. But looking back, I can understand why he grew up to be so self-centered. Okay, don't worry about it, Kenta. Dad will talk to Gramps about it, so relax. Right, honey?
Oh yes, definitely. Gramps is always so severe to the kids.
Maybe it was because Kenta reminded him of his now-deceased ex, and it didn't help that my real mom sort of played along, trying to curry favor with him. Well, I can understand why they would pander to his every need. After all, he is the heir to the Tomioka dynasty. And me? They paid little attention to me. I was okay with it though. He's the older one, and I'm second in line, that's all. The only problem I had was that he was always condescending toward me.
Man, you sure don't have many friends.
I'm basically pretty mild-mannered, so I suppose I'm easy pickings. Every time he looks at me, he's got some derogatory thing to say.
I can't eat with this dull guy. It's depressing.
He always found some reason to patronize me.
What's with the dopey expression, you dimwit?
To me, the dimwit was my older brother. If he was someday going to be the heir of the company and head of the family, there should be a lot to learn. But sadly, he never studies, just always having fun. And he surrounds himself with flunkies who comply with all his demands. To get away from all that, I used to head over to Grandpa's garage and sit there sulking. One day, Grandpa saw me quietly sobbing in the corner of the garage. He grunted with displeasure. What's this? Crying again, huh? And you call yourself a member of the Tomioka family? Member of the Tomioka family? Does that mean I have to be like my brother Kenta? Then I don't want anything to do with the Tomioka family! After I said that, Grandpa started laughing loudly and sat down beside me and began to explain. I never told you this, but I was like you. I'm the son of Tomioka's mistress. And so when I was your age, I was constantly berated for being an illegitimate child, a bastard son, and so forth. You too, Grandpa? That's right, Kosuke. So I just said, to hell with it, and dove into sports and studied hard. That's how I made it. So Kosuke, you can do it too. Don't give up on me, kid. You work hard, and there will be rewards. Grandpa gently patted the top of my head and encouraged me. My brother's juvenile ways got worse as the years went by. I would occasionally see my brother walking around with a group of his flunkies in tow. To me, the sight was comical. It was obvious his lackeys were just blinded by the wealth of the Tomioka family. Those guys were only after his money. I wasn't sure if he was aware of this, but his bully boy attitude got worse. Sometimes he didn't come home for days. The cops even came to the house on occasion. He caused a lot of grief for the family. He continued to berate Grandpa and even started to ignore his parents' pleading. Kosuke, come over to the garage later. I want to talk to you about Kenta. The idea of letting me take over the family business in the future came up several days after Grandpa talked to me. It was probably that fact that triggered Kenta's reaction. My brother's violent reactions got out of hand. With how much he dishonored the family and caused grief to the people in the area, Grandpa couldn't stay quiet any longer. He stood up. I can't stand it any longer! You are disowned! Several years passed after that incident. I graduated from college and returned to my hometown. There, I started working at a local firm. My elder brother would sometimes come by asking for money.
So you can't help out, huh? And you're my brother? I see. You're my younger brother and you took everything from me.
Seriously? How could you say that? Besides, I don't have any money to lend you.
Come on, man, give me a break. My business just isn't going as planned. I need the cash, bro.
Apparently, my brother got together with his buddies and started some sort of venture business. He said he needed the money or his business would go under. But there was nothing I could do.
Ah, damn it. Only I had some money.
It continued like that for some time. Every time I met him, it was to plead for money. Ever since Grandpa disowned him, he continued to have this animosity towards him. But he did have it out for me too, since I was Grandpa's favorite.
I know all about you guys. Bastard sons just clinging onto each other, licking your wounds.
What's so great about being the eldest son? That's what I wanted to say, but I held back. I recalled the conversation I had with Grandpa back in the old shack. You know what? Grandpa still wants both of us to carry on the Tomioka name and business.
That's bullshit! Then why did he disown me? How could he do that? My folks turned against me too!
No matter what I said, it was no use. He would not listen. Grandpa passed away 1 month later. Quite a few people showed up to Grandpa's funeral and reception. It seemed like Grandpa's life and all that he worked for manifest itself with all these people coming to pay their respects. My brother approached me after the services. He looked like he was a bit tipsy after helping himself to all the booze that was available. I couldn't believe what he said.
Hey Kosuke, that old shack the old geezer kept, I cleaned it all up for you, buddy.
What? What do you mean? I had this sinking feeling when he said that. I rushed outside. Oh my god, the shack! Grandpa's garage! I could not believe my eyes. The garage was engulfed in flames. As I tried to rush toward the garage to save it from destruction, several family members restrained me. I looked back only to see Kenta laughing his ass off.
Your precious little garage is a smoldering piece of garbage now.
My mind went completely blank. The shack, you nutcase! You're no brother to me!
All I did was get rid of that old dilapidated shack. You should be thanking me.
You don't realize what was in there!
There's nothing left in that shack.
Grandpa left money for you in there!
What? What did you say?
Grandpa said he disowned you, but he did not completely give up on you!
What?
He believed that you would come to your senses one day. He still had faith in you.
Tell me you're not serious.
I remember what Grandpa said to me that day. Listen up, Kosuke. People change. Anybody, they can change for the better. Kenta's like that now, but he'll change. He'll definitely come to his senses one of these days, and he'll be a proud member of the Tomioka family. I'm sure of it. So he asked me to give you the money when the time was right. There were $50,000 in there.
Did you just say $50,000?
You stupid idiot! He believed in you! Kenta slumped down to the ground. All his strength seemed to drain out of him. I could hear the sound of the ambulance and fire truck in the distance. The garage wasn't very big, but it took a good 30 minutes for the firemen to put it out. After that, the family, or should I say, I, explained the whole thing to the authorities. I pointed out that my brother was a little drunk due to his grief and was a little careless with his cigarette. About the $50,000 that Grandpa left for Kenta, He had put it in a small safe inside the garage. However, the safe was pretty old. The insulation had deteriorated and the contents couldn't be saved. As part of the investigation by the fire chief, it was verified the money did not survive. Kenta completely betrayed the compassion that Grandpa had left him. Although he didn't know it at the time, what he did was unforgivable. This fact was a rude awakening for Kenta. He became a mere shadow of himself, quietly going about his day. If you knew him before this, his inactivity seemed a bit creepy. Then one day, he went into his room and stayed there. Currently, my brother lives his life quietly, abandoned by everyone. His business plans and his future are now on hold. He just spends his days mutely sitting in his room, staring at the walls. God knows what he's thinking. Although he is that kind of guy, he is my brother, and I did feel sorry for him. But I guess it just can't be helped. He chose that path himself. As his brother, all I can do is look after him if and when he comes to his senses. I believe he will succeed, and I will be there to support him. After all, he is my brother.